Good morning. I'm very, very pleased to have State Senator Marty Golden, who's my state senator, and I live in Bay Ridge, here to facilitate this announcement. It's a very, very important announcement. Senator Golden gave a grant of $50,000 to Project Redirect for our gang program, and he gave $53,000 to our domestic violence program, which in both instances will be able to expand our redirect pool of young people, taking them out of gang activity, which has a tremendous positive effect on public safety as well as the budget, because of the enormous amount of money is saved for a non-incarceration program. And obviously, with the domestic violence program, allowing us to hire a full-time social worker to service both of the IDB parts. And, you know, we're the only county in the state that has 2 IDB parts. So first I want to have Executive Assistant District Attorney Deanna Rodriguez explain the benefits of the grant for her bureau. Deanna.
Thank you. District Attorney Hynes. Good morning. Senator Golden, I want to thank you so much for the grant of $53,000 that you have given to Project Redirect. Because of your gift to us, we now can expand our program to include 10 additional young men who will come into Project Redirect. That money will serve to give them the counseling, both the individual and group counseling, that these young men so sorely need to take them out of the gang mentality and bring them back into our society to be contributing and positive young adults in their communities. The money is also going to be used for GPS bracelets, which every member of Project Redirect, when they first come into the program, must wear a GPS bracelet for a minimum of 6 months. These young men are charged with serious felonies, and it's important that we be able to track them. But the other thing that you've allowed us to do by this grant is to give them the group therapies and the group outings that these young men need in order for them to see that there is a big world out there waiting for them, and that all they need to do is put in the work to make themselves everything that they were meant to be, and to come back to their communities as contributing citizens. So thank you so much for your grant.
Thank you very much.
And, you know, I'm hopeful, always hopeful, that the success of Redirect will encourage other counties in this state to try this initiative, which has such a positive effect on public safety. And now the Chief of Special Victims, Wendell Gibella, described the benefits to our domestic violence efforts.
Thank you, and thank you so much, Senator Golden. You know, this grant is going to mean so much for victims of domestic violence in Brooklyn. And let me just give you a little bit of background about our integrated DV courts. They were started in New York State by a visionary, Chief Judge Judith Kaye, who's since retired. She was our Chief Judge on the Court of Appeals. And, you know, she had the very smart sense to know that when you have a court system for domestic violence victims where they can proceed in family court and get a protective order, they can also proceed in criminal court after an arrest has been made and get a criminal court order of protection. Oftentimes you had confusion between a judge who was presiding over the civil matters, the child custody, the support visitation, and a judge who was presiding over an assault case. And you had orders that were produced that often conflicted, they were confusing, and NYPD would have a difficult time enforcing them. Well, in 2005, it was a momentous occasion for Brooklyn, because in 2005, in July, our Family Justice Center opened, and then in October, we're coming up on the 7th anniversary, October 31st, our first integrated DV court opened, and then very shortly thereafter, in 2007, which also coincided with the expanded definition of who could use family court, our second IDV court opened. And like District Attorney Hynes said, this was to become the only IDV court where there's two of them in one jurisdiction. 3,500 families have gone through the integrated DV court. Now, what this social worker is going to do, we are going to be able to reinvigorate that court. And the way we're going to be able to do it is because with District Attorney Hynes' vision, seamless support for victims. So if a victim comes to the Family Justice Center, she can petition for an order of protection with help. She can make up her petition with help from a social worker. What she can do then is get that petition filed in family court. If that petition gets violated and an arrest takes place and that case comes into the criminal court, in seamless fashion, it'll get referred to one of our two Supreme Court integrated DV court judges who will preside over all of the matters, and that social worker is going to create a bridge between those two court parts, the integrated DV courts and our Family Justice Center, where all of the support from immigration assistance to financial empowerment, to counseling for the kids, to use our kids' room, all of that is going to be seamless. And so having that dedicated social worker who's going to impact many, many families, and particularly in Brooklyn with many immigrant families, you know, explaining court processes and getting people from place to place and being able to explain all the support and help they can get is, you know, an amazing thing. So a momentous occasion has occurred again today because we are now going from IDV Court 1, IDV Court 2, expanded access to family court by people like gay and lesbian individuals who are in intimate relationships. So we've now gone full swing from petition to end of process with seamless support for our clients. So we're very, very happy about this. Thank you.
And now, I'd like you to welcome State Senator Golden as I introduce him. It's my pleasure to introduce State Senator Martin Golden. Okay.
Thank you very much, and it's a privilege to be here with you today, my favorite district attorney, and of course the great cadre and staff that he has that represents this great, great county. You know, when we grew up many years ago, we had 40, 50 kids on a block, and you had peer and role models to look to and to work with. And even in those times, you had nothing like you have today. You had that thin line. You know, half the guys wound up in police departments and fire departments, and another half of the guys didn't do so well. And today, it's a whole different mechanism out there. It's changed from the time I went on the New York City Police Department in 1973 through 1983. I've seen the changes from then, and one of the biggest areas that I've seen police officers get hurt, I've seen families get hurt and destroyed, was in domestic violence. And today, that is one of the biggest, I guess, issues, not only before the district attorney here in this county, but across the state and across the nation. And of course, the other growing issue in our communities are gangs. And that's what's causing the violence, it's causing the increase in crime, and it's causing the backlogs in our courts. And, you know, I was in the city council for about 5 years, 1998 to 2002, and we used to sit there and listen to the district attorneys from around the city and the special prosecutors, and they would come up with the ideas and where they were going to go and how they were bringing crime down and how they were on top of the crime. And it was always interesting to listen to D.A. Hynes because he was always one of the most progressive in the group, coming up with ideas such as courts, and as we see today, drug courts. We see working with domestic violence. We see the gangs. We see him working with mentally ill. He has different courts, different judges. He has different setup here that actually works and deals with the families and deals with the people across one of the largest counties in the entire country, and that's 2.7 million people. Well, we just passed some serious legislation in Albany. We passed some serious legislation on domestic violence that moves domestic violence into, several times the misdemeanor. You move now into a felony. And it's going to impact our courts again. And we have a gang piece legislation that we're about to pass hopefully this year based on the LA version. And then that gets passed. That's also going to start to make it an impact to people in our streets across the city and state. But it's to help to bring down the, obviously, the crime in our communities, bring down the violence in our communities, and to bring down the workload in our courts, and to be able to deal with this issue head on. Well, coming here and spending this type of money with the district attorney here in Kings County, we want to spend that money wisely. We want to be able to invest that money where there is a return on investment. So this district attorney and his cadre are not one that talks the talk. They also walk the walk. They get out there and they invest this money and they have real results. So with that proven result, we want to make sure that we too in the state legislature walk the walk. It's easy to pass the legislation that's going to impact our communities. Now it's time to make sure we can get in there and deal with those families, deal with those gangs, and try to save who we can and try to make a difference in people's lives and in families' lives across our communities, across Brooklyn. And hopefully, again, it'll catch on like it has in the past. And the SOP, the Standard Operating Procedure, will again be written in Brooklyn and will be copied throughout the nation. So I am proud to be able to give this money and hopefully more money next year in being able to deal with these issues. And I thank you for your good successes.
Thank you, Sonny. Great. Any questions? Yeah.
Can you talk about the cost when it comes to preventing somebody from going to jail rather than actually having to incarcerate somebody, and especially repeat offenders?
Well, to put someone in Rikers Island for a year, it's $90,000. To put someone in drug rehabilitation, it's $19,000. We have a program for women with their children, women who would be ordinarily going to prison. And the cost of keeping one woman and two of her children in a special safe house that we've created called Drew House is $34,000. The cost of sending that woman to prison and her children, those two kids, into foster care is $129,000. You know, I could go on forever about the way we waste money, not only in this state but across the country. The cost of putting someone in a juvenile facility is $240,000. It is utter madness. And at a time when we are in a budget crunch, whether it's the city or the state or the federal government, why there can't be more leadership and understanding that's exhibited by State Senator Marty Golden, who understands an investment of this money, whether it's in DV or in gangs, benefits the people of this county and increases their level of public safety. So the cost factor is on our side. It's getting more people who are understanding of the need to have a widening investment, like Martin Golden. Okay? Thank you very much.